VikesNow, I am Dustin Baker. The February 26th edition. We are 2 weeks away from free agency. NFL draft is 59 days away. And then this week, the NFL Combine gets crack-a-lackin' in Indianapolis. That starts tomorrow and goes the rest of the week. And we're going to talk today about that Combine and why it's so damn important, so vital for these Vikings. And then the next 2 weeks, we'll be doing a lot of shows about free agency with a lot of the new folks from our VikesNow budding network. But on the Combine, yes, every single year this is a very, influential and instrumental event. But this year, especially for these Vikings, it's supersized. So I want to explain to you guys and gals why we are at where we're at in regards to this Combine. So we'll just start at the top. I have these items listed. I don't have them really ranked in order, so these are from the hip. 4 reasons why this Combine is important for the Vikings. The first one is about one man in particular. And generally speaking, you can say, well, hey, the Vikings need a quarterback, so we're going to be watching the quarterbacks this week. Well, of course, everybody's watching those. But Jaden Daniels in particular is vital to how the Vikings scout the draft because he can move and shake at this Combine more so than others. So every year there is a quarterback, it seems like, that general managers will fall in love with their dual faceted skill set. And this year that can be Jaden Daniels. He's going to put measurables on tape at the Combine. And right now, in almost every mock draft you'd pull up, I mean, there are outliers, but he's supposed to be number 3. It's supposed to go Caleb Williams to the Bears, my guy Drake May to the Commanders, and then probably Jaden Daniels to number 3 for the Patriots. Now, those teams, it's not set in stone that they're going to stick at those spots. It is set in stone that they probably need quarterbacks down the line, those 3 teams, but who knows, in terms of what could happen with trades. But with Jaden Daniels, right now, he's marinating at the number 3 spot, which is fine and dandy. But this is the golden opportunity these next 6-7 days for him to climb up to number 2. So, for example, if he puts a blistering 40 time on tape, there will be general managers, perhaps Washington Commanders guy, that can't resist. Hey, this quarterback has 4 or 5 speed. We can't pass on him. And I'll pivot back to what Thor Nystrom told us last week. The offensive coordinator in Washington is Cliff Kingsbury, and what he typically employs is a quarterback who works outside of structure, who's always on the move, whether it's Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury or Caleb Williams and Cliff Kingsbury at USC. If Thor is correct, and I think he is after listening to him eloquently talk about it, Jaden Daniels is a lot more like Kyler Murray and Caleb Williams than Drake May is. So in theory, if you're keeping tabs on this for the Vikings, there is a path to trade up to the number 3 spot with the Patriots, in my opinion, and that might be for Drake May. Now, if Daniels' Combine sucks, then he'll either stay at 3 or he'll tumble. But he's the one to watch because I think he has a better opportunity to. We already know what we're getting with Drake May. He's a kind of more traditional thrower. He looks like Justin Herbert when you watch the good when you watch the good parts of Drake May's tape. With Jaden Daniels, there is a palpable chance that his measurables blow everybody away at the Combine, careening him up the board to number 2 and leaving what I think is a more prototypical passer in Kevin O'Connell's offense, which is Drake May. Bada bing, if Daniels does the thing in Indianapolis, Drake May, in about a week from now, we could be writing all of our mock drafts or reading everybody else's, and then it's Drake May who has slipped to number 3, and the Viking is looking to perhaps trade up. They can target the Patriots for a trade, and then Drake May could be the guy. Yes, I have some favoritism bleeding into this because I would prefer Drake May in a Kevin O'Connell offense than Jaden Daniels. The only thing I'm spooked about with Daniels is we love the fact that he's a mobile quarterback and he loves to take off and run, but he's just not really big-bodied in my opinion, for that to be utterly sustainable. He's slender, and if we're going to use him that much on the run, I have paranoia that he will get hurt. With Drake May, you don't really have that because he's not going to tuck and run all the time, although he is kind of mobile. Again, on the Patriots, the world is starting to warm up to it. I knew that they would. I believe first of all, they have all kinds of cap space, especially since the cap space the whole shebang went up to $255 million. The Patriots are more than a quarterback away with the new head coach and de facto general manager. I think that their best option per team building is to trade the third pick to the highest bidder. And then they can still, if it's trading with the Vikings, they'll have the 11th pick. If it's trading with the Broncos, they'll have the 12th pick. They can pick J.J. McCarthy or they can pick Michael Penix. And then they'll have 3 extra picks on top of like $80 million in free agency. Washington, on the other hand, they seem ripe for a quarterback selection. So I will tell you to keep an eye on the Patriots because I believe that is a spot where the Vikings can trade if they indeed want to trade into the top 3. But it really comes to Jaden Daniels, and if he can climb to number 2, I believe in a Vikings offense, Drake May makes more sense. Drake May falls to number 3. Boom, you could have a Vikings potential trade with the Patriots. Speaking of McCarthy, he's next on the list. There was something that happened about 3 weeks ago where every Vikings fan looked at each other and was like, why not just draft J.J. McCarthy? Problem solved. We don't have to give up 3 or 4 high-round draft picks to get a quarterback. We'll stand pat. We'll get McCarthy at 11. Well, almost exactly aligned with when everybody came up with that theory. Then all the draft community said, J.J. McCarthy's going in the top 10 or the top 8, baby. So it kind of poured cold water on what Vikings fans were thinking. But McCarthy at the Combine, he's going to throw. You're going to start to figure out what the true sentiment is from general managers about McCarthy. Right now, it's just the hype draft beast, the machine, which will still be involved. But you, with your own eyes, will get to see what McCarthy's all about. And, if it's a great Combine, then the world will be correct. Hey, this guy's going to go number 8 overall, and that will mean the Vikings will have to trade up to number 8. But it's a big referendum on McCarthy because when the offseason started for the Vikings, 8 weeks ago now, or for the whole NFL 2 weeks ago, McCarthy in some mock drafts was a second rounder. Fast forward to February 20th or so, he's getting tugged into the top 7, the top 8. So this is a big moment for McCarthy, and he is the easiest quarterback for the Vikings to get to either pair with a Kirk Cousins re-signing, or if Cousins walks, hey, we got McCarthy, and we only had to trade up 2 spots to get him, or we sticked and picked at number 11. I think he has become the compromise candidate for everybody that's realized Cousins is getting old. Let's draft a quarterback, but hey, I don't want to trade the farm. Okay, I'll just get McCarthy. He looks like he's polished. He's a winner at the University of Michigan. So watch J.J. McCarthy, especially if any of the Vikings smoke pertaining to him is correct. This is a big week for him, and it's a big week for Vikings football if they're indeed interested in him. 2 more things. The running back spot. It's always one of the most fun to watch at the Combine, and I guess it's arguable if the Vikings need a new running back. They have plenty. They have Ty Chandler, Alexander Madison, Dwayne McBride, Myles Gaskin, and Kene Nwangu. So they don't have a quantity problem, but they probably have a quality problem unless Ty Chandler is certifiably sitting on a huge breakout season, which could come true. But the Vikings are in a spot where they have a second-round draft pick this year, and then they're only missing a third because of the Hawkinson trade. Somewhat easily, a third can be obtained by the way Kwesi Adolphus-Mensah likes to trade. And I think that if the Vikings want to finally solve their rushing problems, they can get in bed with the dude from USC, which is he? Marshawn Lloyd, that's him, or Bucky Irving from Oregon, or the best running back, at least before the Combine, on the board, Jonathan Brooks. So keep an eye on the running backs because you're looking at a Vikings organization that in back-to-back seasons has ranked as a bottom 6 rushing outfit, which leads me to believe they need to spend some sort of not throwaway draft capital on a running back. Where does that put them? Probably, they can get the best one on the board in round 2 if they really want. I think Jonathan Brooks will be available there. Maybe not, but this draft class, Thor Nystrom told us last week, isn't like last year where it was Bijan Robinson could go in the top 10. Or, there's not really a Jahmyr Gibbs that will probably be scooped. What was Gibbs, the 8th pick or something like that? So these Vikings need to improve their run game. There are a lot of good running backs, not utterly elite. So when you watch them at the Combine, start to circle your guy, saying, hey, I want the Vikings to get Bucky Irving from Oregon. This is a draft where the Vikings realistically need to select a running back, so the combine is a good thing to watch. And then finally, tomorrow, I assume most of you will be watching this on Monday. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah speaks at 12:30 p.m. Central Time, and Kevin O'Connell follows at 1. And that is when we should start to get a couple more clues about the Vikings' intent. They have these giant-ass dominoes that we're waiting for. Kirk Cousins' free agency, Danielle Hunter's free agency, and then Justin Jefferson's eventual contract extension. I'm going to go on a limb and say that a couple of reporters will ask Kwesi and separately Kevin about, hey, what are you going to do with Kirk? And when these two first started their leadership reign, they were more straightforward than most when answering questions. Kwesi especially would be too revealing at times. So I would think that tomorrow you'll see a little bit more than the diplomatic reply or a politician speak when asked about Cousins or Hunter or Jefferson. We haven't had any big clues about what the Vikings plan to do with Cousins, Hunter, or Jefferson from the mouths of the leaders since the season-ending press conference, and that was, January 10th or something like that. So, yeah, this is the first time that Kwesi and Kevin will get in front of a microphone in about 7-8 weeks, and we need some information because the team is going to change significantly or has the possibility to do so. So I hope some reporters will, ask the tough questions or at least get something tangible that we can lead on. I will leave you with this, unrelated to the Combine. 6 years ago today, February 26th, 2018, is when Ian Rappaport and then the rest of the NFL media followed, reported that Case Keenum would not be back as the Vikings quarterback. I lift this up only as context that the news on Cousins can hit as soon as now, whether it's a credible report from Rappaport or any of Adam Schefter or any of those. We are in the prime season to learn the hints. All right, they're probably not bringing Cousins back, and more than just like some podcast, some guy talking about, hey, I think some guy like me saying I don't think Cousins is coming back. This is right now is prime time for us to learn whether or not Cousins is in the plans for the future, or any of them really. Justin Jefferson's extension could hit any minute, but we're right there on the calendar. All right, that's all I got. The rest of the week, I think we're working on Ben Lieber for the following Wednesday, the Wednesday before free agency. And we'll be back, Tuesday, probably every day this week with Vikings coverage. And Skol, baby.